Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today's video is going to be on this beautiful DIY all the time geometric clay decor. So let's begin. I'm starting off with this 2.2 pound block of clay. I actually scored it ahead of time. As you can see, I made them a little bit bigger than the knobs, and I just scored it just because I had to make 16 of these geometric knobs, which I'm not going to lie, did take a second. Sorry about that. So here you can see that you do see my scoring. I do advise you to do it if you have to make a ton, so you just pre-measure and cut and you're ready to just keep on going. So here, like I said, I'm just going to start cutting and then we'll start making the knobs. As you can see here, I measured it so that it is larger than the knob itself, so it's just easier to kind of mold together. So I'm just going to start by cutting two little thin slices of that clay block off, just so that I can make the base of the knob that's going to basically consume the knob itself. So I'm just going to take one piece of that half and then just kind of stick the knob in there, kind of, I don't know, pound it in there. You see what I'm doing. Then I'm going to take the second piece, but before I apply it to the knob itself, I'm just going to make a tiny little slit, which I should be getting to any second now. There it is. So I'm going to make a little slit so that it'll just consume the knob, and what I found best, like my method that I found to work best, is just to pinch the sides together so that it'll create one perfect little mold so that it's a very strong foundation and it's not going anywhere once it dries. So once you've created your base, basically the foundation to your knob, and you have shaped it to your liking, the next thing you're going to do is take the rest of the clay itself and you're going to apply it to that base. So here is just something I remember from ceramics class, where you kind of score both ends of the clay that you're going to attach together, and then you add water. So it's supposed to help it kind of adhere a little better, but I don't know if this applies to regular clay opposed to ceramic clay. I'm not sure, but I thought why not just do it just in case. So the way I'm going to do it here is after I score and apply the water, of course, I'm just going to take this like wooden, it was kind of like the little painting mixer that Home Depot provides you. You can definitely use a spoon or a knife or anything. It's just kind of what I had, so I took it. Then I'm just going to start kind of smoothing out those edges to make it one cohesive piece in itself. Then I go back and actually start pinching those areas just to be sure that it is one piece and it's just not going to pop off once it dries. One thing I do want to add is the way I'm making my knob is having the clay kind of go outwards opposed to consuming that little hardware in the back of the knob. You kind of see that little black or dark brown, I don't know what that is. But I just wanted it that way so that I just have more emphasis on the knobs when they're in my drawers. But if you definitely want to have the clay go to the other side of the knob, just kind of covering that hardware, just apply the clay to the bottom end opposed to the top end. So once you've created a smooth little cube, the next thing you want to do is start slicing. So I'm taking this blade you see here and I'm just going to start slicing away. Please be careful when using a blade. It is pretty sharp and you could have a really bad accident. But anyways, so I didn't really follow any photo reference. I just kind of started slicing away and seeing what I came up with along the way basically. And that's actually something I really ended up loving about my knobs, that they're all basically different shapes, but they work together really well. And I don't know if it's because of the clay that I purchased, it's the air dry opposed to the baking to dry. Every time I would kind of slice it, it would kind of drag with the blade. So as you can see, I do go back and kind of mold the shape into what I particularly want it to be, especially to smoothen the sides, just so that I get a clean cut, you know, geometric shape in the end. So I'm not sure if it's because it's the air dry or the baking kind, but just be aware that you will have to go back and shape it if needed, which I basically had to do with every single knob. It's just a little warning. If I just don't show enough of it and you have questions about it, I did have to go back and smoothen it out just to make sure I have those clean, crisp edges. Then once you've completed each knob, you just want to leave them out for about a day. That's all I left them out for, and then you have this beautiful masterpiece. I don't know about you, but I really love the way they came out. I was going to go back and actually sand them down, but I just kind of like the imperfections that they had. It just added a little more detail, which I actually prefer. And now on to the next DIY. So these clay geometric tea light candle holders are actually really easy to make. All you need to do is take a block of clay and then just insert the tea light and just kind of mold it around the tea light itself. And just as we did with the knobs, you're just going to take a blade and kind of just start cutting away, making your preference of your geometric shape. And again, going back and smoothing out the edges if needed. Like I said, I actually had to do that quite a lot. Then allow them to dry out for the night and they'll be ready to be lit in the morning. Now the last DIY is a jewelry clay dish, which I absolutely loved the way they came out. You want to take a block of clay and just roll it out about, I believe, 1/4 of an inch mine was. Then you just want to take a mold or two. I'm taking 2 separate shapes. One is just this salsa bowl that I saw lying around that I'm going to use to make a round dish. Then I'm going to place it on the bottom of a pot holder just so that it'll mold to that shape. And then you also want to make sure you smoothen it out as much as you can and smoothen out the edges as well. Now the next one I'm going to make is just a basic square shape. I couldn't find anything as a kind of mold or cookie cutter, so I just used a ruler and cut it out myself. Again, you just want to focus on those edges just because you don't want to cut yourself once the clay does harden. This one I'm just going to apply to a bowl just to kind of give me a different kind of bowl-like shape, if that makes sense. Then you want to set them out for the night and then allow them to dry, and here you have your 2 jewelry dishes. Now these 2 looked a little too plain for me, to be quite honest with you, so I decided to spray paint them a metallic copper color. So to do so, I'm just applying some painter's tape and a piece of paper just so that I don't get any of the spray paint on the other half of my dish. And here you have your DIYs. I hope you enjoyed, everybody. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.